Hi everybody, and thank you for joining me. My name is Lisa Wolf. I'm an intuitive guide and mentor for spiritual entrepreneurs and seekers. And today I'm going to lead you on a short shamanic journey. This is kind of an introduction to journeying. For those of you who have not journeyed before, I just wanted to tell you a little bit about it. I started journeying several years ago. And before I began journeying, I had a kind of a funny idea about what a journey was. I had a sense that it was sort of a primitive ritual, that it was old-fashioned. But what I've come to realize through my research is that shamans all over the world in isolated tribes everywhere have been practicing shamanic journeys, and the processes are all the same all over the world. So it's very interesting because obviously they did not have the internet back then, and there was no way for them to communicate this skill. And what happened, because journeying has been around for many, many tens of thousands of years, maybe even 100,000 years, but what happened is that very simply shamans learned to access the non-physical universe. And the method that they use, which is drumming, which induces a light trance, allows us to have access to the non-physical realms, because we are limited senses. We only have access to a very small amount of everything that is going on. And the fact is that we all have guides, angels, and helper energies around us at all times. And so journeying is great because this is one way to access these helper energies. And what I've found through my students and through myself is that journeying allows us to develop our powers of intuition, because all human beings have intuition. We have this extrasensory perception. But journeying allows us to really develop it and to fine-tune it so that we have access to that all of the time. So I really, really enjoy journeying, and it's one of the many methods that I use in my work to help my clients to access guidance, because we are constantly getting all kinds of guidance from these helper energies. And if you've ever had, just a flash where you knew something was going to happen, you've got intuition. That is what it is. And it's simply something that can be developed over time. Everybody, even people who you may think have, no woo side at all, they have no intuition at all, everybody does have it. And so with practice, and with, consistent work over time, you can really develop these abilities in a beautiful way. And my work with the guides has really been very, very comforting, because, our modern dilemma is that we feel very much alone. We have the internet, we've got all of these artificial means of connecting, but one of the problems that is happening in the world right now is that we really feel very isolated and we don't feel connected. And working with guides is a beautiful, beautiful practice because it allows you to see that you are not alone anytime, that you have these helper energies and that the universe is conspiring to help you. And so accessing guides, developing your means of working with them, talking to them, is just a beautiful practice that can give you a great deal of comfort, reassurance, and guidance, particularly when things get funky, which, they always do here on this physical plane. So let me just take a second and look at the comments. So there are no questions. So what we're going to do here is I am going to guide this journey, which is a little bit different than I usually do shamanic journeys. Normally I describe it first, and then I allow people to have their own experience. In this case, what I'll be doing is playing a drumming track, but I will guide you with my voice through the journey itself. And then at a certain point, I will let you go to have your conversation with your guides, probably for about 3 minutes or so. And then I will guide you back. And I hope that you have a great experience. If you have any questions, please post them now so I can take a look at them. But if there are no questions, I'll just go ahead and we can get started here. So what I would suggest you do is get headphones if you possibly can. And you can either lie in a comfortable position, just so long as you're not too tired, because if you're too tired, then you'll just fall asleep. In that case, I would suggest that you sit up in a comfortable position and close your eyes and just make yourself as comfortable as you possibly can. And then I will go ahead and guide you. Oh, it's so nice to see you, Anik, and it's so nice to see you, Tara, and Mishi. It's great to see you. Thank you so much for coming. This is pretty exciting. I think we're making history. I don't know if a shamanic journey has been done live ever on Facebook, so you guys are making history. So we'll get started in just 1 minute. I'm just going to give a chance for people to ask any questions if they do. Give people a chance to get settled and comfortable. So make sure that you are lying back. And I think that the best thing to do, particularly if you've never done a shamanic journey before, is to set an intention for this particular journey to meet your power animal or your main guide. It's always a great idea to do that when you are first starting out, because once you have your main guide, that guide can kind of show you around and show you the ropes. And that's super important because you want to feel comfortable and you want to feel protected. Now, I will describe that part of it a little bit because that actually is important. When you set the intention to meet your guide, if you go in there and you see something that does not make you feel warm, fuzzy, and totally loved and protected, all you need to do is to say to that being, "You're not my main guide. May I have someone else?" You are totally in control of this experience. If you see a guide that you're not comfortable with, feel very free to ask them to leave. The reason that I say this is that the first journey that I did, my auntie actually teaches shamanic journeying as well. And the first one that I did, the first creature that appeared to me was a snake. And while I actually like snakes, I got a big old tattoo of a snake, the snake did not make me feel warm and fuzzy. And I knew that he probably had an important message, but he was not who I wanted to talk to. And so I asked him to leave, which he did. And then my main spirit guide, who is a bear, showed up. And she has been my protector and my guidance for many years now. And it's been really great working with her. So I'll just stress again that angels and guides, they will do what you tell them to. You are totally sovereign over this experience. You don't have to experience anything that you don't want to. But at the same time, I will also say that just hold the whole process loosely. And if you think that, oh, how could this possibly be happening? This is just my imagination. Yeah, but what's imagination and what's real in the non-physical realms? I actually had many experiences when I first started doing this work with people where I was starting to think, oh, this has got to be my imagination. This cannot be real. And so I was asked to, I asked to have absolute, irrefutable proof that it was not my imagination, that it was absolutely real. And I had a couple of experiences which were quite hilarious, actually, where I saw things in doing shamanic healings on people that I could not have known at all. And when I went back to the client and related what I had seen, they would say, "Oh my God, yes, how did you possibly know that?" And so that was just a beautiful, beautiful confirmation. So hold the process lightly, and just allow your mind to be free in this, and just allow whatever comes up to come up, unless you're uncomfortable, in which case, again, you're in control, and you can ask for somebody else to talk to. Okay, Anik, it's only 10 minutes. So it's a 10-minute guided meditation, very short. So we're going to go as deep as we possibly can. I teach journeying fairly regularly. I have a class that's coming up on Tuesday. I do it by donation. There's a $25 suggested donation. So if you would like to go deeper with this process, I do have this class, and I have a PDF which talks more about the various intuitive abilities and how to develop it. And the class itself is about an hour and a half long. So I'll put a link to that later on. But this one is kind of the light version of Shamanic Journeying, and we'll just see. I'm really, really excited to see how far you guys can go with this. It should be really a very interesting experiment. All right, Anik, I'm glad that you can stay for it. Okay, so I am going to start up the drumming, and so I hope that you are nice and comfortable and you have your earbuds in. If you need a drink of water, I'm going to take a drink of water because I'm going to be talking. Do that now, and so you'll feel really comfortable, and you won't have to, feel like you're parched. All right, one more question. Let me just see what's happening. All right, sweetheart. Yes, Tara. It is going to be awesome. Okay, so get yourself comfortable. Close your eyes. And we are going to get started. All right, so take a couple of deep breaths. Just center yourself in your body. And with each breath, you're going to relax more fully. Allow the drumming to carry you along to a place in nature. This place can be anywhere that you feel comfortable. It could be in a forest. It could be on the beach. It could be out on a prairie. It could be on the desert. But in this place, you feel absolutely comfortable, and it will probably feel very, very familiar. Look around you, and what you'll see, what you'll observe on the ground, is a hole. This hole may be a small cave. It might be a hole between the roots of a tree. It could be any sort of hole at all. And what you're going to do is to feel the energy coming out of that hole, and it feels very benevolent and very exciting. And you're going to go down the hole, get on your hands and knees, or perhaps the hole will open up to be big enough for you to walk. And what you realize is that it's a tunnel. and you'll be able to smell the earth, whether it's sand, whether it's the soft, warm, wet earth of a forest. You might feel the earth beneath your knees or beneath your feet, and just walk down the tunnel as slowly or as quickly as you want to. And after a little while, the tunnel will start to go up, and you'll see light, and you'll emerge from the tunnel into a new place. This place is different, but again, it feels so familiar. It might be a clearing in the woods. It might be the desert. It could be just about anything. And it doesn't make any difference because this is your place. Now, as you're standing here in this new place, you will feel very comfortable and feel just a beautiful vibration of love and acceptance and compassion. And soon you'll notice that there's a being that is coming towards you. This being could be any size or shape. It could be an animal. It could be an angel. It could be a guide in human form. Welcome your guide and thank them for having you in this place. And if you'd like to, you can try to feel into the energy that this guide represents and see, is it a human? Is it an animal? But as you do this, you can begin to ask your guide questions. Any question that's on your mind, any problem, or if you'd like, you can just get to know them. And now you'll have time to talk to your guide. Now it's time to say goodbye. Give your guide a small gift. Perhaps you have a crystal, or a feather, or a rock. Or maybe you just want to give them a big hug and thank them for this experience. You must say goodbye, but also know that you can return to this place anytime and tap into the energy, any place, anywhere, any when. Now you'll turn and you will go back to your tunnel, slowly or quickly. You will go back and you'll find yourself back in your safe place. And take a couple of deep breaths. And whenever you're ready, you can open your eyes. All right, everybody. So I hope that that was a good experience for you. As I said, I will be teaching a much more extensive class on Tuesday at 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, and I'll put the link to the event down in the comments. And if anyone has any comments, I would love to hear your experience. I think that's the shortest version that I've ever done, but I would love to hear what you experienced, how it was for you, and bear in mind that what you can do is you can listen to this recording over and over again if you still feel that you need the guidance, but if you don't, there are many good videos on YouTube that you can use for your own practice, and the process is exactly the same, where you find yourself in nature, you find a hole in the ground, you go down the tunnel, you come up the other side, and then you can talk to your guides. So it's really a very simple process. The reason that I love to teach it in groups is because the energy is so amplified. And so, to be honest, when I first started journeying, it was by myself, and it took me a while to get the hang of it, so that I would consistently have, an experience. But what I'm finding when I work with groups is that because the energy is so amplified, people can go much deeper, much quicker. So it's been really exciting for me to teach this modality because it just opens up so much more. And as I said, it really allows you to begin to develop your intuition in a deep way. And then the upshot of that is that you can use that heightened ability in everyday life as well. So Tara is saying that she came to the same meadow that she's visited before. Oh, and it was full of flowers. Nice, it's springtime. Oh, you got a Sasquatch. That's great. That's really, really cool. So, yeah, Denny, some people, she's saying that she could feel a pulsing energy. Okay, so did you see anything else? My experience with this is that sometimes when you're just starting with this work, you won't see anything. Now that goes particularly for people whose intuitive talents tend to be clairsentience or claircognizance. Clairsentience is when you feel energy through your body, and then claircognizance is when you just know things. And so sometimes those intuitive types can take a little while to get the hang of it, I tend to be very clairsentient and claircognizant, and so what I do is I have a little procedure that I call 20 questions with the guides. And so I can feel the energy in my body. And what I do is I just start asking questions. I'm like, okay, is this an animal, or is it a human form? Is it an angel? What color is it? And I'll start to get answers. And then it's really funny because once I get a certain number of answers, then pop, I'll be able to see it. Because clairvoyance, which is clear seeing, is not my strength. It is now, but when I first started this work, my other clairs were much more developed. So that's what I'm saying about developing your intuition, because the more that you play with this, the more you're going to be able to feel and to see. Those people who are clairaudient are, in my book, are lucky. That was actually the latest one of my intuitive abilities to develop. And now I'm starting to get sentences, which is a lot easier because when you are not terribly clairaudient, then you'll get information in big hunks and you kind of have to translate it for yourself. So it can be a little bit less clear than if you're getting straight information. Let me just go here. Oh, okay, Denny, that makes sense. I mean, you can listen to the recording again. Yeah, you probably should, because I did instruction at the very beginning. So it's very possible that you'll see something the next time. I have taught many people, and I've only had 2 people who didn't see anything, but they felt a lot. Like they felt like they were in a vortex, or they felt like they were spinning, which can be a little bit disorienting. But you can just keep trying it, and now that you have the procedure, you can just do it yourself. But as I said, if you're feeling a little bit, insecure about doing it yourself, I would love to have you at my class on Tuesday, because it's going to be tons of fun. And also, when you take my class, you have the recording, so you can listen to it anytime. Okay, and Tara says she wanted to know what she was going to do next in her business. The message was, it didn't matter. You learn things by messing up. Well, don't we all? Don't we all? If we have the right attitude, then it's perfectly okay. The more things go sideways, the more you learn. Yeah, I think that's a really good attitude toward it. Yes, I totally agree. When I checked in with your guides the other day, Tara, they were very clear that this is a total preliminary, and that it's going to lead to the big thing, and it's not anything to get worked up about. I know it's easy for me to say. Okay. And you could see clearly, Tara. That's fabulous. Oh, like TV. Nice. Yeah, it's always really helpful when I can see things. So, Anik. Oh, okay. Well, just try again. She said it was hard to stay on track. I'm not really understanding why. It might have been too much instruction for you. And when I do the class, I don't talk during it because I really like to have people to have their own experience. So you might want to try one of the classes, or just listen to the video on your own. Because, Anik, you have a really well-developed intuitive sense, and so you might not need as much guidance as other people. And Tara's saying she had to try the journey 3 times before she... Yes. I mean, it's not just once that's happened to me. Sometimes if I'm really agitated, or, my brain is way over in left field, like left brain, then it can take some, it's just like meditation, where you just have to be really persistent and keep trying. And some days it's just not the day to journey, that's all. You don't want to be too hard on yourself about that. And Tara's asking, Anik, Alice in Wonderland. I didn't even mention Alice in Wonderland. Was it just because of the tunnel? That's really interesting, Anik, because I did a journey earlier today, and I was falling down the center of the earth, and it reminded me of Alice in Wonderland, because I had the image of falling down just like Alice did. So that's kind of cool. I think you tuned into what I was doing earlier. And she says she ended up in a house that looked like Peter Rabbit's house. That's cool. And the Alice in Wonderland, the guy with the Alice in Wonderland rabbit with the little watch. Well, Anik, what's imagination and what's real? I've done journeys where cartoon characters showed up. I did this one journey where I was really serious, like I had some really heavy stuff going on in my life, and so I went into the journey, and I was just determined to get answers. I had to get the answers, and so I went in, and I came out in a meadow, and there were all these woodland creatures dancing around, and they were cartoons. And I was like, this doesn't seem right. And they said, yes, it's right. And they grabbed me by the hand, and they're dancing around. They're saying, you have to laugh, and you have to play. And I was like, thanks a lot, you guys. But the message that they were conveying to me is that I was taking things way too seriously, and I needed to be more gentle on myself, and I needed to get some play in. And they were absolutely correct about that. I tend to be a little too serious. Okay, guys. So that was really lovely. I don't know if you caught that, but I was doing some energy work on you in the middle of it, so you got a little bonus there. And I'm glad you enjoyed it. It was really, really fun. And feel free to reach out to me personally. And as I said, the class is on Tuesday. I'd love to have you come. Love to have you there. And I'd love to hear any experiences that you have. You can friend me if you're not my friend, and private message me. I'm very happy to have new friends. All right, so you are so welcome, you guys. It was really fun to spend this time with you. And I will see you later. Bye.